What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. This is the MMA Script. We are going to be breaking down the main card of UFC 325 coming up this Saturday. I'm going to be giving my predictions, some narrative shifts. I'm gonna mainly focus on the narratives. That's what I try to focus on for this channel, is more of the narratives and stories behind the fighters. I'm not that great with analytics and just being super technical with the analysis. So I'm better at following the stories, and that's what's most interesting to me anyways. So let's get straight to it. So as you can see from the graphic that's on screen right now, we are starting with the main event opener of Qudos Bank versus Jamie Mullarkey. So this is the breakdown. Qudos Bank, he's a rookie, arguably the rookie of the year. He's had some great knockouts, some great fights just in his debut outings. He's new to the UFC, but he's someone you should keep your eye on. He is going against Jamie Mullarkey, kind of a veteran in the sport. They're fellow Australians. To get into it. Predictions first. Qudos Bank, he's not fighting a minority this time, guys. He's fighting a fellow Australian. What that means, some of his powers are going to be diminished. Online he's known as the minority killer. So, but I think they're in Australia, so they're still the majority people. But depending if he lived certain parts of the world. The color of his skin, might be becoming a minority, but he's a redhead, so that could count. But besides the fact. So Qudos Bank, he's the up and comer. He's the hot new toy for the UFC. So they're trying to get the bang for their buck. They're putting him up against a veteran of the sport. It's kind of a civil war, if you want to say that. It's kind of a handing of the baton. If Qudos Bank, which I think, early prediction, I think Qudos Bank will get this done. But it's a handing of the baton. UFC is trading out one washed Australian for hopefully a new Australian prospect. Where this can get tricky for Qudos is just Jamie Mullarkey is known for making his fights real scrappy. Qudos has been involved in some scraps already. He fought against, I think it was his second fight in the UFC. He fought against this Israeli guy. I can't think of his name right now. But in that fight, he had to, it was a real test for his grappling, because that guy was just pushing up against the cage, trying to go for takedowns. And, Qudos, we got to see that wrinkle of his game. He's got some good takedown defense. And it kind of was a dogfight, so I'm not really worried about that aspect for this upcoming fight. He showed he has grit, and he's already showed us he has knockout power with his knockout of Anshul Jabali and his last fight with Nasrat Haqparast. I don't know how to say his name. But so I think I'm going to go with Qudos Bank with this one. I think it's going to get into a brawl, but I think he has power. He has sharp hands. He has kicks, as we saw in his last fight. But I think he will get it done. I think in the first round, honestly. Jamie Mullarkey, he's taken some punishment in his past fights. And I think he's a little chinny, honestly. I think he might get knocked out. That's going to be my prediction of a first round TKO by Qudos Bank. But after this fight, Qudos Bank is going to be on a rocket ship. I think he could be fighting maybe a ranked guy in his next two fights, if not his next fight after this, if he gets a highlight TKO. And we saw in the first card of the year with the 100K bonus wins. So all these fighters are going to be coming out. They want that, especially a rookie like Qudos. He's probably making minimum with his fights, unless he's negotiated with the UFC already, but I doubt that. So he's going to want that 100K bonus. Or, they also did the KO/TKO knockout bonus, 25K. So they're going to be chasing one of those too. So I think this fight, I don't know, it's going to be a banger regardless of the outcome. So, keep your eyes on this. My official prediction is Quillen's outkilled by TKO in the first round. All right, as you can tell, the second fight, Tuivasa versus Talison Teixeira. Guys, this is not looking good for Tuivasa. He's already on a 5-fight skid. He's lost his last 5. This is all or nothing for Tuivasa. It's he's known for the shoeies. He's known for just being this Australian's big draw in the heavyweight division. But with this fight, the shoey game is over. Don't focus on what shoe you're gonna be drinking out of after you win. Focus on winning the fight. Talison Teixeira, he's an up-and-comer. His last fight got knocked out by Derek Lewis, which isn't aging greatly, as we saw Derek Lewis just give up in his last fight. But Talison Teixeira, he's had some knockouts. I think all knockouts besides getting knocked out, but he's been involved in all knockouts. Give or take. But they're feeding again. This is kind of a callback to the same situation in the first fight with Quillen and Jamie. It's kind of a handing the batons. I know Talison's not Australian, but he's up and comer. He's newer. He won Dana White Contender Series a couple years back, maybe this past year. But Talison, he's just so long, 6'7" against 6'2" Tuivasa. And he hasn't fought in a year or so, or 2, maybe 2 years. And as I'm sure y'all have seen the photos of him going around. He is looking a little bigger. He's in the heavyweight division, so a lot of the fighters are blobs. They obviously don't care about their bodies. A lot of them, until you get into the higher rankings. But he's a higher ranked guy, and so the big thing he needs to do is just go out there and do what he does best. Hopefully, he's been training. Hopefully, his cardio's up. But I can't look past his flaws. I think Talison Teixeira is gonna win this. He's super long. We've seen how Tai does against bigger fighters, longer ranged fighters. In his Volkov fight, got finished. He was coming in with looking to brawl. He throws his haymakers and looks for every shot to be that one special KO. But he can get reckless in that. Talison Teixeira can catch him easily coming in with I see a straight right just going down the pipe and flatlining him maybe. He kind of does. His chin's been exposed in the past. He has his plenty of KO losses. But he's in his hometown, so maybe that changes up. Maybe his boys being all on the card with him, motivates him. Hopefully he's been in the gym more. Hopefully he's taking this serious. But I still got to go with Talison Teixeira. Tuivasa, a fan favorite, obviously. He's fun. He has the shoe gag, but in the UFC, those can only take you so far. He's got a tall task, no pun intended, ahead of him. Those kicks are going to be dangerous. Talison, he does good with the low kicks. So obviously going to be there. But, it's just that rust and him being out for so long. I haven't kept up with his sparring or training or nothing. So maybe he's putting in the work, but just, man, Talison Teixeira is dangerous. We saw what he did to one of the Taffa brothers. People have their opinions on the Taffas, but he made easy work of one of the brothers. I'm not sure who it was, Junior or I forgot the brother's name. The other one, but whatever. So after if Tai loses this, it might be over. I'm gonna call a bold prediction. I can see him retiring if he loses. I don't think his heart's fully in it. He's a star. He's made plenty of money. He's working on his cannabis brand outside of the UFC, so that could be an excuse for why he's gone so big. But this is make or break it for Tai. few wins, he could be back on that hype train, and especially if it's a flashy win and he makes it look easy, I think people will start putting their stock back into him and give him another shot. But if not, this could be the Tony Ferguson of the heavyweight division. Not looking good for him. So I'm going to go with Taliesin Teixeira with a TKO. I'm not sure what round. I could see first round, honestly. But, Tai Tuivasa, he's been with the best. He's been with Sirgan. He's been he finished Derek Lewis. Been with Volkov. He's been with all the top guys. So, maybe experience and the vet comes out on top. But it's a tall task. But yeah, Taliesin Teixeira by TKO. Alrighty, next fight up the card is Rafael Fiziev versus Mauricio Rufy. So let's go with narrative first. The narrative going into this fight, Mauricio Rufy is coming off a loss to Benoit Saint-Denis, who's also fighting on this card. We'll get to that later. But so Mauricio Rufy coming off a loss. He's with the Fighting Nerds, but he has been training with Alexander Volkanovski as of late. So, that could attribute to a better performance. But the Fighting Nerds, they've all come back. Carlos Prates, he came back with the win with the knockout against Leon Edwards. John Silva just won his past fight against Arnold Allen. So Mauricio Rufy has that pressure of keeping the fight streak going for the Fighting Nerds. They all lost last year. They all lost, which is, they were on a hot streak. Everybody was glazing them. This is the best team out there. But so Mauricio Rufy, I'm not sure where he stands with the team. A lot of people are saying that he left them, but he might just be hopping around gyms. It's a good thing. Working with Alexander Volkanovski, obviously the GOAT, arguably the GOAT of the featherweight division. So that's going to help with dealing with the pressure of Rafael Fiziev. But speaking of him, let's get to Rafael Fiziev. He's coming off of a couple losses, I think both to Justin Gaethje. He's a former featherweight, so that's a thing to take into account. He's more of a stand Muay Thai striker. Excuse me. He's more of a stand and bang Muay Thai fighter. That's where his background comes from. So I think we could be seeing a stand and striking fight. But Rafael Fiziev, he kind of needs this. This is kind of another. It's kind of the trend for these first three fights, with the new guard coming in trying to take out the old guard. So Rafael Fiziev, he's in that position. He's been in the rankings of the lightweight division for a while now. So it's just him guarding his position. He has he had his takedowns with Justin Gaethje, but that's not his bread and butter. So he's gonna look to stand and bang with Fiziev. Or not, sorry, he's gonna look to stand and bang with Mauricio. The narrative for Rafael Fiziev is he needs this. He's kind of in a position when he was up and coming, looking at he was the exciting fighter at the time, with the KO power. Maybe some people don't think so. He had a tough outing with Justin Gaethje in his last fights. Came out short on both, but he's I think he's improved. He probably feels hungry. It's kind of make it or break it for him. For Mauricio Rufy, if he gets this win, fights off the pressure of needing to secure that win, he can be on a rocket ship as well. He is already super hyped, super loved. People call him the new Conor McGregor. I wouldn't subscribe that to him as much, but he's very dynamic with his striking. I think he get it done. So my prediction, be a Mauricio Rufy win. I think it's probably going to go the distance. I think it's going to be a decision win. He's going to stand out at range, use his length to his advantage, do his dynamic attacks. But also, I think we're going to see a big, increase of skill with him working with Volkanovski. So that is my prediction for this fight. I think Mauricio Rufy is going to get the decision nod for this fight. It's high stakes for both of them. Rafael Fiziev, if he loses, he's going to start fighting ranked people under him. He might be the gatekeeper. I think he'll assume that role if he loses. If he wins, it's good. He has the momentum. He's back up. He could be fighting up the rankings, which will be really good for him. It's what he needs in his career. But yeah, Mauricio Rufy, decision win. Alrighty, to the co-main event. Dan Hooker versus Benoit Saint Denis. Man, this is a hard one for me. I've been racking my brain for the past couple days. Just, man, who is going to get it done? A lot of people are saying it's Benoit, which is probably the smarter decision. But we'll get into predictions after we do narratives. Narratives for Dan Hooker. He's a veteran. He's been in the lightweight division his whole career, I believe. But he's been a higher ranked fighter for a long time. He's had his wars. He's known for just going in there and scrapping. He had his famous fight with Dustin Poirier. He had his war with Jalen Turner. That was a great fight. And then he's just a brawler. He's just, he takes damage. He's willing to be in there, just take a strike to give one. But with this is another make it or break it. If Dan Hooker loses, he is the gatekeeper of the lightweight division. He's had his chance at the belt, or he's had his opportunities. He hit that wall hard with Arman in his last fight. Arman made it look easy, but Arman is really good. A lot of us want to see him fight against Ilya, and I think that's the fight that should be made. But regardless, Dan Hooker was brave enough to take that fight. I've been watching a lot of his interviews, and he feels a lot less pressure with this fight. He didn't like how his last fight ended, so this is a quick turnaround, which can not be good for him because he took some damage. Allegedly, Arman Sarukian broke his nose at that headbutt in the face-offs. I don't know how true that is. He took some damage. He took some elbows. Could have been one of those, but he says it was from the headbutt, so that's what it is. So the narrative, it's about survival for Dan Hooker. If he can go out there and bring Benoit into a dogfight, we've seen Benoit break, kind of. It was a doctor stoppage against Moicano, but that was a beating. But Moicano isn't Dan Hooker. Dan Hooker isn't the grappling type. He has a crazy guillotine. He's known as the hangman for a reason, for snatching up the neck. I think it's possible for him to, for Benoit to shoot in, because Benoit he has great wrestling, great takedowns. But I could see Dan Hooker, locking up a guillotine, and they looked real tight against Arman, but he's just a freak of nature. Did a little spinning crocodile roll to get out of it. But all right, so for BSD, the narrative is he could be the dark horse of the lightweight division. If he gets past Dan Hooker, makes it look easy, he could be up for a title contention. His next fight could be a title knockout fight. So he really needs this. They have pressure on both of them for different reasons. Dan Hooker is, trying to stake his claim that he belongs where he deserves his position in the lightweight division, and he's still an elite fighter. So can Dan Hooker get the job done against BSD? My heart says yes, but my brain is saying something else. I think Dan Hooker, I'm going to go out on a limb, and I think Dan Hooker can get this done. I watched I've been keeping track of Benoit's career. He's relatively new to the UFC. Also, I forgot to mention, he started MMA training in 2017, I believe. So not that long. And I think Dan Hooker, he's had a longer career. He's the veteran in this. Another old guard versus the new guard type of story. But back to the predictions. Benoit, he's going to come in. He's going to do his grappling. That's obviously Dan Hooker's weakness. But what's keeping me from just going on the train? This probably the smarter option of Benoit. But his fight against Dan Hooker's fight against Mateusz Gamrot really showed his takedown defense. Mateusz Gamrot is a great grappler. He has great wrestling. A lot of people discount him because he can't keep people down. He's had close fights. He hasn't been the most successful in his career, but Dan Hooker, he put up a fight against him. Gamrot did have that win against Armin. Just people think it was a robbery. Could have been either ways, but I think Armin's way better than him now. I think if they rematched, Armin would win. Back to the fight though, Dan Hooker. He's like I said, he's willing to go in and really to take one to give one. Is that the smartest option? Probably not. But Benoit is just a monster. He's gonna, I could see it going with the Benoit, just grapple the heck out of him to win the fight. Holding up against the cage, getting him on the ground. Can go that way. I can see Dan Hooker, piecing him up on the feet, making him bleed. Maybe gets a KO win. I think that's a little more likely than a Benoit finish, honestly. But I'm gonna go on a limb. I think Dan Hooker can get this done by a decision. But this is the least confident pick of mine. The heart is telling me Dan Hooker, but the brain is Benoit. I'm gonna go with my heart. I think Benoit is good. I just don't think he's that good. He made Ruffy look like he didn't belong in the cage with him, honestly. Benoit had a great outing. But also I have to go back to his Prepelic fight. Prepelic is not on the same level as Dan Hooker. But Benoit, controlled him the whole fight. It was boring. But I don't think Dan Hooker is gonna let that happen to him. He's a hometown, even though he's from New Zealand, but Australia and New Zealand, they got that bond. So he's considering it's a hometown fight. He's got all his boys on the card with him. He says he feels less pressure. So that could be a benefit. He's saying he's angry. He's going in there angry, and that's how he says he usually fights. He's going into it like he always did with his fights. He has the length in his advantage, but he gets caught a lot. He leaves his hands down, which is scary. But I think Dan Hooker can get this win via. This is probably gonna go the distance, and I think Dan Hooker can outland him, win the wars. Think he can take Benoit into dirty waters, muddy waters, whatever the analogy is, and deep waters, muddy waters. He's gonna make it dirty. That's what I was trying to get at. He's gonna make it dirty, and he's gonna make him fight his fight. But Dan Hooker gets pushed back a lot. But if Dan Hooker's, holds his ground, uses his, he's got great body kicks. If he uses those, he uses length, he can get it done. I'm not giving up on Dan Hooker. He's a great fighter. His style is what I love about the sport, making it just wars but he's taking damage. I'm not gonna count that against him. But I'm gonna say Dan Hooker via decision win. It's gonna be a scrap. It's gonna be a good fight. Regardless, I'm not gonna be super upset because Benoit, he's a monster. And so after this fight, say Benoit wins, he's gonna be on that. He's gonna be a tough fight for the rest of the contenders. We could see him. I should have looked at the rankings, but I didn't. He could be fighting up a ranking, so he could be moving up. I said his next fight could be a title eliminator if he wins. Dan Hooker wins. He's back. He's got his courage back. He has momentum, and he's making a statement that he belongs there. And we could see him. I don't know if he's going to get a shot for the title again or a title eliminator. Not like his past fights have even been that, but he could be moving up the rankings, fight up the rankings. But if he loses, he's a gatekeeper. He's going to be fighting all the up and comers. He's going to be, or he's just going to be looking for exciting fights. We missed out with that Justin Gaethje Dan Hooker fight. That would have been a banging fight. But we didn't get it. So final prediction: Dan Hooker by decision win. Alrighty, and we are at the main event: Alexander Volkanovski versus Diego Lopes 2. Narrative, first of all, Volkanovski, is going to solidify his GOAT status as the featherweight GOAT. It's going to be another title defense to add to his, his collection of many title defense. I know it's not in a row, but still, defending the title especially in the featherweight division, there's so many killers in that division. So I think it'll solidify his GOAT status. And a lot of people were thinking he's going to retire after this. It would have been a perfect situation. Australian home fight, wins, leaves off on his horses, retires. But he's put that rumor to rest. He says he's willing to fight more after this, especially if he wins. He said he'd hopefully have 6 more. I don't know if that was a serious statement, but regardless, he is not retiring after this. For Lopes, it's probably his last shot at the title for a while. Possibly, the way the UFC is going is they're looking for the more exciting fights. They don't really care about the rankings anymore. This new Paramount Era, they just want exciting fights. They want the new people watching, to see the exciting fights. So it could be his last, but he's the exciting fighter. He's been gifted this. He's done favors for the UFC. So maybe not. If he loses this, I don't think his stock loses very much. He's already lost Volk once. People are writing him off because he didn't really have any answers for Volk. He got rocked. He got dominated for all the rounds except for one, according to the judges. But for Diego Lopes, he's got more at risk. If he loses, he's going back to fighting the hungry dogs, looking to make a name off of him. He's had his title shots. I think they'll start feeding him to the Lerone Murphys, to the Aaron Picos, to the all the killers at the featherweight division. I think he does good against the rest of them. He's great. He's got great grappling, great striking. He has knockout power. So I don't think he loses too much. If he loses again, if he wins though, he can go on a run in the featherweights if he's not fighting Volk. If Volk loses, it doesn't hurt him too much because he already beat Lopes once. It would be technically it'd be a champion. He would have a win over a champion again, so it wouldn't hurt him too much. But the only way I can see Lopes winning is by a knockout. Volk, he's been knocked out twice, so that's always there. He's been proven that he can be knocked out, but he's lost to the best. He's lost to arguably the number one pound for pound fighters. I think Ilya has an argument to be number one. If he keeps going on the streak, if he defends the lightweight title, if he moves up and wants to fight Islam, then but regardless, Alexander Volkanovski can get knocked out. But what Volk needs to do is just do what he did in the first fight. Go out there, fight. He's good at fighting at range, fighting behind his jab, piecing him up. I think he could take down Lopes, as we've seen before. Lopes needs to change his whole strategy with this. Volk doesn't need to change much. Just needs to go and do what he does best and not get knocked out. What I'm worried for Volk is his when he's exiting or when he's backing up. He likes to back up straight. That's where Ilya caught him, and that's where Lopes got that knockdown in their first fight. You know, he backs up with his kind of with his head up, and Lopes can, you know, capitalize on that. My prediction for this fight, I think Volk is going to get it done again. He has the advantage of already fighting this guy in his last fight. He's been in there. He's felt his power. He's taken his best shots, and so he was saying he wants to get the finish. He wants an early turnaround for like mid year. If he gets the job done, gets a KO, takes no damage, which I think it's very, very possible that he can make it clean. So my prediction would be a Volk win. Decision win. I don't see him finishing Lopes, although that would be crazy. I just don't see where it would unless he rocks Lopes, you know, and takes him down and does his signature ground and pound, kind of like how he did Yair Rodriguez. But that's my prediction for it. I think he's going to get it done to a decision. So I guess we go with the future of the featherweight division if Volk wins. You know, I think they should make the Movsar versus Lerone fight. Winner fights Volk. I think that makes the most sense. But, you know, the UFC is doing what they're doing. I'm not really caring about the rankings, so they could give another exciting fight to Volk. I think he deserves more for his legacy. You know, he's been a champ for so long. He's defended it. And he's just all around, you know, company guy. He's very likable. Fans love him. Hard to hate the guy. He's, you know, he's just got that Australian charm. But for Lopes, say he wins, he's fought Movsar, made it really close on his debut, and it was a last minute fight for him. You know, he got the call, and I think he gave Movsar his hardest fight. He almost submitted him a couple times. So if, say, Movsar beats Lerone, or he just gets the next shot, it's going to look good for Lopes. And then he can go on a run if it's not against Volk. Unless he has the answers for this fight. But I don't see that happening. So, official prediction, Volk going the distance with the decision win. So yeah, that is my breakdown of the main card, guys. I try to give some storylines to it to make it exciting for you guys. That's what makes it exciting for me. This is my first of these videos. I hope you enjoyed it. I can't wait to make more of these. I'm gonna try to stream my reaction. If not, it's just gonna be another reaction review video. So look forward to that, and can't wait to see you guys in the next one. Thank you.